The video is entitled, How Did Constantine Get a Vision About Keeping Sunday? I'm going to be doing some reading here because man, when it comes to God, man's opinion does not matter. Because, see, when you look at the word opinion, opinion means people who is not sanctified by the Spirit of God is incapable of making good judgments about something. That's what an opinion mean. Opinion means you're not able to you're relying upon a judgment that's not correct. That's why they say opinion, because you just won't. And hopefully I don't fall asleep in this video. I just want to let y'all know that. You know who's responsible for all this though? The so-called white man. Because Esau telling people is to, it doesn't matter. We live in a society where they say, well, you can't keep the commandments or whatever, you know. Um, Now what was I gonna put down there? How did Constantine get a vision about keeping Sunday? That's the name of the video. Oh yeah, opinions. What is the definition of opinion? Okay, a view of, that's what I just said, which I Googled it up before. And I know the answer but without looking at it, but I'm still gonna read it. A view of judgment formed about something not necessarily based on facts or knowledge. That's what it means. When you use your opinion, so we have to understand your opinion doesn't matter. My opinion doesn't matter. So let's get to reading here. Introduction. Throughout its first 3 centuries, the church went through unimaginable persecution from the Roman Empire. Through all the time, though all the time, growing, growing and spreading. So imagine what an extraordinary turn of events it was when the Roman Empire himself became a Christian within one's person's lifetime. See, uh, that's why, okay, let's keep going and it'll come back to me. The empire went from the most savage, severe of its several persecutions of Christians to embrace Christianity. That means these Ashkenazi Jews, Jewish people over there in Israel right now, became converts and they converted to the real Jew faith. And that's why you have that type of stuff, which goes back to the opinions. You are admitting that all this stuff is associated with imposters. Let's look up the definition of imposters, and we'll go to the scroll and we'll reveal what is the definition of imposters. I would say somebody is fake. What is the definition of imposters? All right. A person who's pretends to be someone else in order to deceive others, especially for fraudulent gain. That's right. Some of these words are hard, hard, hard. Late 16th century, in the early used spell impostor, sometimes confused with impostor in meaning, from French impostors, from the late Latin impostors, contradiction of impostors, from Latin impo, im, im, empire, or impioneer, or whatever, meaning impostors. Does imposters mean fake? Yep, without a shadow of a doubt. Imposters also spells imposter is a person who, so let's see. I warned y'all. I told y'all. All right, let's read this here. The A Christian within one person's lifetime, the empire went from the most severe of its several persecutions of Christians to embrace Christianity. This they was forcing the real Jews. Let's see when did the Jews leave? When did those Ashkenazi Jews went into Jerusalem? Okay. Ashkenazi Jews began setting in Jerusalem the early 19th century with, with the wives of immigration increasing significantly in the late 19th and 20s, the 20th century, due to events like programs, Russia, and the rise of Zionism, while similar groups may have visited since station or sustaining something was not possible due to religious political bans that persisted for temples persisted for centuries after the destruction of the second temple. Okay. In the early 1800s, the first major wives of Ashkenazi statements begin with followers of the vine, go on lead by the rabbi, mechanism. Yeah. All right. Let's read this here so we can. Maybe it might be. I don't know. You let me know in the comment section if y'all understand that. The text tells the story of the Roman Empire, Constantine conversion, a little of how his new faith was reflected in his imperial policy, in addition to what you have read below. He outlawed in influence, the abuse of slavery, and, and persistent crucifixion, he made Sunday a day of rest. This account is from biography written by Eusebius, the Baptist of Caesarea, Palestinians, was a great historian. Yeah, see, I'm falling asleep. Let's get some. This account is a biography written by Eusebius, the bishop of Caesarea. Palestinian was a great historian, the first to make significant contribution to church history, and his major work was the history of the church, which took him 2500 years to prepare. He also knew Constantine's personality. So in many ways it is thoroughly reliable account. But he was obviously a devoted fan of Constantine, both both personally and politically, which should which should caution us to watch for base in his account. As you read, wait how reliable and balanced you think the the extract is, and whether or not Eusebius is right in his phrase of Constantine influence on the church. The number paragraphs paragraphs refers to the number sections in the life of Constantine. 17 Constantine choices Christianity because of the wicked magical enchantments so diligently practiced by the tyrant matroness Max Max Mactensis Mactensis was Mactensis who was in control of the Roman. Constantine was convinced that he needed more powerful aid than his military. Oh, wait a minute. Then because of the wicked magical enchantments so diligently practiced by the tyrant Maximus, who was in control of Roman. Constantine was convicted that I think I'm reading this in circles. I don't know if y'all understand. Maybe I'm just tired. Constantine was convinced that he needed more powerful. Excuse me. I'm gonna read this. Constantine was convinced that he needed more powerful aid than his military forces could give him. So he sought the help of God. He believed arms and solidarity less important than the help of the power of the invisible, unshakable God. So he considered which God he could rely on for protection and help. I mean, for protection and help, my bad. It occurred to him that of the many empires who had practiced, who has preceded him, those who had put their hope in multitudes of gods and served them with sacrifices and offerings had been deceived by flattering prediction and oracles, promises, property, and come to a bad end without one of their gods warning them of their impendiment. I'm skipping line because I guess I'm tired. It occurred to him that of the many empires who had preceded him, those who had put their hopes in a multitude of gods and served them with sacrifices and offerings have been deceived, flattering predictions and articles. The articles mean the scriptures. Yeah, the promises properly. I'm skipping the promise prosperity came to a bad end without one of their gods. You know, throughout his whole life, i.e., his father had found him to be the savior and protector of his empire. Reflecting on this, he decided he would be great fully to join the idol worship of those who were no gods and to err from the truth after such convincing evidence. For this reason, he decided he would be great folly to join in the idol worship of those who were no gods and to err from the truth after such. Yeah, I'm falling asleep. For this reason, he felt bound to honor his father's God alone. Let's look at 29. Constantine dreamed. He said that he was unsure what his what this apparent could mean, but that while he continued to ponder, night suddenly came on in his sleep. The Christ of God. Yeah. So you know what? It won't let me stay away. So I'm at that start. I don't know if I might have to start this video over. Let's try this in. These things were done shortly afterward, but at the time when he was struck with amazement at the extraordinary vision and resolving to worship other on worship no other God than who he had appeared to him. He sent for those who were acquainted with the mysteries of his doctrines, and in acquiring who that God was and what the vision meant. They affirmed that he was God, the only begotten Son of the one and only God, that the sign which had appeared was the symbol of immortality. The Son of the one and only God, that the sign which he which had appeared with the symbol of immortality, and truthfully of that truthfully of that vision, of that victory over that which he won in the past. When visiting the earth, they told him about how he came to be born and explained to him the true account of his incarnation. Constantine was in awe of the vision manifestation he had. Okay. They told him how he came to be born and explained to him the true account of his incarnation. Constantine was awe of the divine. True account of his incarnation. Constantine was in awe of divine manifestation, had seen, comparing the heavenly vision with the interpretation he was given. He found his judgment confirmed. Believing this knowledge and be given to him by God, he decided to devote himself from them on the cross, on to the reading of the inspired writings. However, he made the priest, he made the priest of God his to his adversaries, and though it and through his duty to honor the God who appeared to him with all devotion, then began strengthening by this hope in God. He went quickly on to fight the fire of Tyre. I don't know what that means. I ain't gonna read the rest of this here. It says 42 honoring bishops and building churches. 42 bishops and building churches. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna. I read a lot of it, but I don't know if I was dragging. Let me know if y'all understood that, because I was falling asleep and it was hard for me to do this video. How did Constantine get a vision about keeping Sunday? Let's get up out of here. That's the name of the video.